Hey guys, welcome to my ADC guide from Unranked to Plat. If you're anywhere from Bronze to Mid-Plat, I really hope you find this helpful and entertaining. When I first started playing ADC, I was really interested in learning how more experienced AD carry players could climb through and past my elo, which was low silver at the time. Now I'm a Diamond ADC, and I really wanted to create a video that would be useful to players like me when I started off. So I leveled an account to level 30 and I set out to play from Unranked to Plat. It took 25 games with a 76% win rate, and my goal with this video is to share what I learned along the way, including common mistakes that I observed and tips that I really hope could help you improve your play and climb the ranked ladder. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy. Farming, kiting, positioning, and itemization. These 4 points are the bread and butter of any ADC player. I'll cover positioning and itemization later in the video, but effective farming and kiting are essential skills that you should always be trying to improve. Farming is one of the most important skills in League and is especially important for ADCs. Even in lanes where I didn't get early kills, especially in silver and gold, I found myself with 20 to 30 CS leads at 10 minutes just from last hitting effectively and pressuring the enemy ADC. A lot of players I faced, even when they had decent CS early game, stopped trying as hard to farm as the game went on. So always keep up the farm and you'll find yourself with huge gold leads mid game. Kiting is another essential part of playing ADC as it allows you to reposition while dealing max damage. And doing this effectively from silver to plat elo generally puts you a step ahead of the competition. Try practice kiting in practice tool games and normal games until it's second nature and you will see your play improve drastically. And always remember, don't get discouraged if you see your farming and kiting isn't up to scratch. Practice really does make perfect. Here are 2 clips of low health enemies overextending because of a numbers advantage. I saw this very often and especially during ganks, so make sure you don't tunnel vision and overextend, and always be on the lookout for enemies doing this so you can take advantage of it and grab yourself a free kill or at the very least a summoner spell. Another huge source of mistakes that I saw in my games came from ineffective use of summoner spells. In many of my games, I was able to pick up early kills bot lane because the enemy ADC was not ready or did not react quickly enough to use their summoner spells. So always be ready to not only use your heal to save yourself, but to save your support in lane and any teammates throughout the game. A heal to save an ally can literally be game changing, so always be ready. My biggest tip is to take it upon yourself to shot call, communicate with, and ping to your team. If your team throws at a fight that you knew was bad to take, but went with it anyway, or doesn't take a free objective that you knew was available, the result is partly on you for not communicating your point. The ping tool is extremely useful and pretty much all you need for 99% of communication, so try and use it often and effectively. If your lane opponents go missing, or they burn summoner spells, ping so your team is aware. I find a good method for when your enemies go missing is not only to ping missing, but also ping danger to the allies that they could roam to. If your jungler wants to gank and you know it's not safe, ping them away and avoid the bad call. If you see a tower, dragon, or baron that's free, ping on your way so that your team will follow up. And if you know your allies are overstaying, signal danger. My next tip is about champion pool. I've seen many guides and tier lists suggesting specific champs to play, which champs not to play, and so on. But my advice is just play the ADCs that you enjoy playing. You'll have more fun and learn more that way. But for best results, try and stick to around 2 to 3 champs so you can really master their mechanics and get comfortable on them. My final tip is an absolutely huge one, and it makes a massive difference in the final result of almost every game you'll play. The clips playing now show me roaming around the map to where my teammates need me. If your jungler is being invaded, your mid laner is running down the river, your jungler is trying to counter jungle, or it looks like there'll be a fight in another lane, unless it's unsafe, always roam to help. It's almost always worth losing a few CS, and most of the time it results in a kill for your team. The main ways of obtaining a lead early game are from kills, a CS lead, or taking first tower. But it is not worth it at all to try and get these leads if it risks you dying in the process. Greeding for kills, CS, or towers was the #1 cause of my lane opponents putting themselves behind early game. Power spikes are a huge part of laning, and understanding them is crucial for an optimal early game. One of the most basic types is the level 2 power spike. Utilizing a level 2 power spike got me numerous leads because of enemies not respecting it. In bot lane, after you clear the first minion wave, killing 3 melee minions will grant you and your support level 2, meaning both of you will have an extra spell along with bonus stats given by the level up. If you manage to get level 2 before your lane opponents, you can go for a trade or an all-in. Here are 2 examples of me using a level 2 power spike. To summarize, almost always try to push for level 2 before your lane opponents, and either use the power spike for an all-in, a trade, or just to zone them off of the wave. If you know the enemies will reach level 2 before you, back off so all you lose is a few CS and not your summoners or your life. The same goes for a level 6 power spike. If you reach level 6 first, you can abuse this, and if the enemy does, be wary of it. I put a few examples of especially strong power spikes on screen for reference. Warding and map awareness are core if you want to be able to reliably get leads in lane. Only go for objectives, all-ins and trades when you know the enemy jungler or mid are not close enough to gank. Keep the river bush and tri bush warded whenever possible. Always be wary of an enemy walking into lane and hiding in a bush. And be aware of any wards in your lane that the enemy top laner could teleport to. If you keep all of this in mind, you will be almost unkillable. And most of the time from bronze to plat, this alone will allow you to get ahead because of enemy mistakes. Buy pink wards whenever possible and only place them into bushes that you can contest if the enemies try to destroy it. Another small tip is if the enemy jungler dies or is top lane, and the mid laner can't roam, there's no point in warding the river or tri bush. Save it until you need it. Here are a few other laning techniques you should always try and implement into your play. Try to poke opponents when they go in for CS. Always be aware of you and your enemy's summoner spells and be ready to use them. Go for trades with your opponents after they use main abilities, for example Tristana E or Blitzcrank Q. And if you manage to take bot lane turret, either recall and then head mid to siege that tower, or ask your top laner if they would want to lane swap with you and your support and siege top. These clips show lanes where I was put behind my opponents. In this case, I took bad trades early on, had a hard time versus enemy poke, and my jungler gifted a free kill to my lane opponent in a high risk gank. Time and time again, when I got ahead in lane, I saw my opponents go for desperate plays trying to get even again, even though these plays had a very low chance of success. Most of the time, this just got them even further behind and guaranteed victory for my team. Instead, in almost all cases, the best method to get back in the game is to play safe until the enemies make a mistake that you can capitalize on, and then swiftly take advantage of it. In almost every game from bronze to plat, there will be many opportunities to get back into the game, so just wait for these and then take the chance when it presents itself. In this game, I stayed cool, last hit as many minions as I could safely, and waited until my team could strike back. Here is a clip showing the point where the game started turning in our favour. Remember, if you died to your lane opponent once, or they took tower first, it only takes one play to turn that all around. But if you continuously take risky and unsuccessful plays and feed them even more, it becomes harder and harder for your team to come back. Some people tilt easily and others don't. But no matter what, in my experience, you'll have a better time if you mute all as soon as you sense yourself not focusing on the game and feeling tilted. And I'm sure you've heard this a million times, but comebacks when the game seems lost really do happen. Games are thrown so often in every elo, and players on a winning team often start messing around and don't close out the game. Always be thinking of ways to get back in the game, and you will be amazed how many victories can be snatched from the jaws of defeat. Mid and late game vary massively from game to game, but there are a few things that separate the average from the great ADCs that really show themselves as the game progresses. Always focus on keeping your CS as high as possible throughout the game, but before you go to a lane to farm and push, identify what the next big objective of the game is and farm the lane closest to it. For example, if Dragon is about to be up, you should be mid or bot. Or if Baron can be taken by either team, try to be top lane or mid. This sounds very simple, but it can be extremely difficult to execute. Mid and late game especially, you have to put not dying as your first priority. Although most players know this, most of the ADCs I faced from bronze to plat died needlessly at least 3 to 4 times a game just from greeding for CS or flashing too aggressively. Only go into a lane to farm when you know where enough of the enemy champions are, or you have your team with you. And only use your flash aggressively if it means your team will win a team fight, or you will kill an enemy team member more important than you are. Otherwise, using your flash is not worth it, as you could easily die in the game deciding team fight because you burnt your flash for a meaningless kill a few minutes beforehand. Once you have scaled and you have your main items, the game is in your hands. So make sure you are around your team to siege towers, take objectives, and win team fights. I'll make detailed videos on both itemization and positioning soon, but here are a few lessons worth noting from my journey. Make sure you don't fall into the trap that many low elo players do of building the same 6 items every game. Your item build should be very flexible and different depending on the needs of the game. There's no use in having slightly more DPS if you get one-shot by a Syndra because you didn't buy a Hex Drinker. Positioning is something that ADC players continue to improve as long as they play the game. A zone of control is a very important concept when understanding positioning. Imagine that each enemy champion has a circle around them that reaches out to the same range as their threatening ability to you. For example, Malzahar's zone of control would be the range of his ultimate. If you imagine that each enemy champion has this zone of control in-game, and try to stay out of these zones during fights and skirmishes, you will see your positioning become safer, your teamfight damage increase, and your deaths per game decrease. Remember, when the enemy champions use these threatening abilities, their zones of control will get smaller or disappear, so play accordingly. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned a few things along the way. I appreciate any feedback. Thank you very much for watching, and good luck in your ranked adventures.